Hello. Recently, I ordered this video that I found online on sharpeningsupplies.com, and it is the instructional DVD of the Foley Belsaw Model 1055 Sharpball. Now, I'd say from the looks of things, this video was probably made in the 1980s, and the guy that was demonstrating is probably long dead. But honestly, I paid $30 for this, and I was totally blown away. There's so much I don't know about sharpening, and there's so much about everybody else making videos on YouTube doesn't know either. These guys, the Foley Belsaw guys, were really the top of the heap, and everybody's sharpening videos are valid, but this is like perfect sharpening and stuff. And do you need to do this? No, but it's nice to know, and now I do know some of it, and I'll be reflecting that in some of my videos. Foley Belsaw, the company, it was really, like I said, I'm an Uber fan. I love their stuff. It's a shame that they're not in business anymore, but the kind of tools and sharpening supplies that they made are, for a lot of people, not practical. Just like the sharpening on this video is probably not practical for most people. You can take a saw blade. For example, a regular saw blade, non-carbide, when the steps to get it to perfection are very many. And to be honest with you, I don't see how anybody could make any money sharpening saw blades, at least those kinds. It's unreal, and what it takes really to get one of those blades up to spec according to their standards. And anybody out there that's showing you a sharpening video, and myself included, it's a valid method. I was taught sharpening by my shop teacher in high school. It was pretty much all freehand, and it works, but it's not perfect. It won't produce a super professional razor sharp blade, but it will work. In my knife sharpening, the same way. There's other ways of doing it, and their way is probably the best way. And there's many ways of going about these things, but I'm going to be taking a look at that in upcoming videos, and let's get to the meat and potatoes of this one. Okay, welcome again, and to Jason's shop. Today I want to talk to you about a jig here that I've made for sharpening hand chisels. Now, I know I showed you in a video before how to sharpen a hand chisel free-handed, and that is a perfectly valid and fine method to do it. But if you want a little more accuracy, and this comes from the Shopsmith video, okay, on the 1055, basically, excuse me. All right, as you can see here, this jig consists of two parts. Now, the first part is, of course, a couple of plates. And as you can see, there's a line on the inside of that there. That is to line your chisel up with. It is square with the back of this. This is a straight piece of wood here. And as you can see what I've done here, I have taken a piece of metal, metal pick, and I've scribed a line along this that is parallel to what the face of the wheel would be. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to line this up, parallel this with this line, and this thing's going to slide along here while we sharpen our chisel. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up now. We're going to attach it with two clamps here, and then we'll put our chisel in there, line it up, and we'll get ready to sharpen. As you can see, I'm just going to use a little pocket ruler here to line this up where it needs to be, to where it's parallel with this, so it can slide along in here. If you have any questions about making this jig or anything, see my jointer blade tutorial. Basically, these screws are just set in there with epoxy, and I line them up just with a block, and I put wing nuts on it, and that acts as a clamp. So we're going to get that set up right now. I'm going to show you how to sharpen a chisel. Basically, I'm set up here and I'm ready to make my first pass. So I've got to make sure that this doesn't rock back, but it stays flat. So it was rocking a little bit, and I think it's because there's some debris or something over here. Okay. All right, so here, okay, there we go. Okay, here we go, and we're going to turn on, make a pass. Yep. It would help if I plugged it in. Just a moment. Help if I had the right cord. All right. Touch it. Okay, so let's try this. All right. Okay, we made a pass. This thing is not entirely straight, so the thing we have to do now is to slightly move our chisel in. So we kind of got an idea here where we need to go, so we just loosen it slightly, and always make sure that your chisel is lined up with the line. We're going to bring it in just a little bit. Looks like we're still lined up pretty good. Okay. All right. A little bit better, okay. We're going to loosen a little bit and bring it up just a bit more. It'll kind of scoot when it goes up. Okay, we'll try that. Make sure we're lined up still. Yep. Much off that time. Okay, good edge. We're taking little bites because we don't want to, about 3 scoots with the blade is all we want. And you can micro adjust a little bit here and there. So let's see where we are now. Okay. We're getting there. Okay, looks like we're still lined up. Woo! Caught some on that one. Okay. Woo! Boom! Took a little bit of a corner off there. We're gonna have to correct that. Alright, let's go in again. Careful this time. Yeah, we took a lot of the corner off. Okay, looks like I'm taking off a little bit more off this side, so I'm going to tilt the blade a little bit this way. Okay, so we'll take a little bit more off that. going to hit this with just a little bit of water because it's starting to give me a little burn on it. Okay, I want to show you this. We've started to develop a burn over here, and it's just perpetuating itself at this point. So what we've got to do is we're going to have to file that down and go ahead and resharpen it and put a new edge on. If you go back to my video on sharpening these things on the side of the blade, it's far more easier on your tools than it is on this, than it is with this method here. But here's a jig you can use to sharpen chisels on. But as you can see, when you're taking a big bite out of the metal like this, you do need water, but you don't when you're sharpening on the side over there. I prefer sharpening them by hand on the side a lot more because it's a whole lot easier on the chisel. As you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm taking the side of this and I'm just sawing through it. And you gotta dip in the water every little bit so you don't burn your blade. And what I'm doing here is I'm just taking it back down past that burn and just one hit back in the water, okay? And the water cools it down enough to where you can touch it. But I want to get a point on this because I took the point off. Ooh, burn. A burr burn. Anyway, once you get to where you think it's good, take a straight edge and put it up against this side. Make sure you got all your junk off there and see how it's going. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a new edge back on. I'll go ahead and do that. Put our straight edge up there. I've got a little bit more to go. About maybe a 15th I need to take off. I don't know what fell down. But let's see here. Okay, I'm getting close. Okay, let's get there. So I've said before that you don't need water when you're sharpening. It depends on what you're doing. If you're putting a new edge on it, yes you do. You want to take it out a little bit bigger bites than you did before. This one would really file the edge of that one on. So. Okay, we're getting there. But you want an edge on this. And this getting close. Okay. That's slight. Okay, that's pretty good. Good enough anyway. We'll take the rest of it off when we put the new edge on. Okay, now when we're putting the new edge on, what we want to do is we want to sharpen it just like we did before. Like that, okay? See, we're starting to put that on there. And we want to be careful so that we don't over sharpen it and burn it. Okay, so we're starting to give a nice little even edge. Okay. All right, we're getting there. Okay, as you can see, we're starting to get a little bit of a good edge on it, but we've got to go down quite a ways. So, all right, here we go. Our real edge will be put on by the final sharpening process, and we're going to do that now. Also, what you'll want to do is you'll want to move your blade across here several times once you sharpen it, because it initially makes a hit and kind of bumps the blade up. Move it across several times, 3 or 4 times, and then you'll have a really good cut on it. Okay, I've got this thing pretty much back the way it needed to be. With just a little, I mean, there's a little tiny round on there, but I don't want to take it down anymore. Anyway, we're going to go over to our sharpening stone over there and finish this. I've just showed you how to not only sharpen a chisel on this with a jig, but also repair one. I don't like sharpening chisels this way, but it is a good way to repair a chisel that's really messed up. So we're going to take it over the sharpening stone and finish it off, and I'll see you over there. Okay, here we are over at the bench, and I want to talk a little bit about the final process here. Basically, what you're going to do, if you watch some of my other videos, you know this is a combination diamond stone. It starts out on the yellow is the coarsest grit, 200, and it goes 200, 300, 400, and 600. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to just basically take this thing, and I have to either clamp this in it or hold it, and you put the chisel at the angle that you want to sharpen it, and you sharpen it. A burr will develop, and there will already be a burr on from sharpening. You'll take that off a little later. Now, a word on this. Some people will tell you that there is one angle for a chisel. No, there's not. There's a range of angles, but each manufacturer will use different ones. Some probably use one more than the other one, but it's going to be within a certain tolerance. So anyway, when you're repairing these things, as long as you keep it within those tolerances, and that's something you should check online, and don't take mine or anybody else's really word for it. But as you can see here, this one, let's get focused in here. You can see there's a couple of rounds from the grinder left in there. I don't like sharpening chisels like this. I showed you how to do it, and you can do it, but that's in the end you want to place this flat on here and slide it that way and take your burr off. Okay, this chisel here is pretty darn sharp. We burned it and we restored it, and that's how you do it. Okay, a word on sharpening stones. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. Now, this one here is the one I use most of the time. I do have some Japanese whetstones over there, but I was raised on Arkansas oil stones. And let me tell you something. Arkansas oil stones will sharpen things like nothing else, in my opinion. Now, other people will tell you differently. But let me tell you the advantages. First of all, Arkansas oil stones, in my opinion, will produce the best edge of any of them. They are messy. Oil is messy. Water stones, on the other hand, won't sharpen quite as razor sharp as hone as quite as razor sharp as Arkansas oil stones, but water evaporates. Oil does not evaporate. Diamond stones are probably the cleanest, and probably they will produce a very sharp edge, but not as sharp as a whetstone or a water stone or an Arkansas oil stone. But they are very convenient, and they're pretty cheap. Arkansas oil stones are probably, and whetstones are the most expensive. But try them all out, if you will, and see which one works best for you. You probably, chisels, like I said, and there's also stropping wheels and things like that. Sharpening is so broad. There's so many different methods, and they're all right, And so that's my video for today. Hope you've bared with me through this. I didn't plan on burning the chisel, but it happened, and I just incorporated it in there. So now you know what to do. Don't throw your chisel out. Just fix it.